Have you noticed something lately? More and more people are building their own furniture, fixing up their rooms, decorating corners of their homes with handmade shelves, planters, or lighting. They call it DIY, do it yourself. Scroll through TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, and you'll find magical transformations everywhere. A dull room becomes a cozy studio in just a few hours. A dusty piece of wood turns into a sleek Nordic bench. Viewers don't just admire it, they feel inspired. They want to try it too. DIY has become a movement, a lifestyle, a declaration of independence. It tells the world, I don't need to buy, I can make it myself. But here's the real question. Is DIY truly a path to freedom and savings? Or is it a beautiful illusion, one hiding a set of unexpected traps? The appeal. Why DIY feels so right. There's something undeniably satisfying about making things with your own hands. It's not just about saving money. It's about control, about reclaiming a small part of your world. When you build your own shelf, or paint your own wall, or turn an old cabinet into a coffee bar, you're not just changing your space, you're making a statement. This is mine. I did this. It reflects me. And in a world full of identical apartments, mass-produced goods, and trends that shift every week, that kind of personal expression feels rare, valuable. DIY also gives you something many of us have lost: presence. You're not just scrolling or watching, you're doing, you're focused, you're in the moment. And sometimes that focus can be therapeutic. Fixing up a space gives you the illusion, however brief, that you're fixing something deeper inside. A sense of order, a sense of control, a sense that, maybe, you're not falling behind. In tough times especially, like during a pandemic or a personal rut, DIY can become a form of self-repair, a distraction, a purpose, a way to say, I may not have everything figured out, but I can build this. I can fix this wall. I can create something today. That's powerful. But as we'll soon explore, what begins as therapy can sometimes become another kind of pressure. The unexpected costs of DIY. On the surface, DIY seems like a win-win. You create beautiful things, you save money, you express yourself. But let's be honest, how often does it really go that way? The truth is, many DIY projects end up costing more than we expect. Not just in dollars, but in energy, time, and peace of mind. First, the money. Yes, a handmade table might look cheaper than one from the store. But what about the tools? The glue, the paint, the brushes, the mistakes? One trip to the hardware store turns into 5, and suddenly, your cheap shelf costs twice as much as a ready-made one, not even counting your time. Then comes time itself, the resource no one warns you about. A project you thought would take one afternoon drags into the weekend. Then next week, then becomes that half-finished thing in the corner you now feel guilty just looking at. But perhaps the heaviest cost is emotional. You start with excitement, a vision, an idea, a bit of hope. Then comes frustration. The paint doesn't dry right. The wood doesn't fit. The result looks nothing like the picture. And now, instead of pride, you feel disappointment. You question your skills. You question your choices. You ask yourself quietly, why can't I do this like everyone else? That's the part no one shows in the viral videos. Because behind every perfect DIY clip are hours of retakes, hidden edits, professional lighting, and sometimes even a team. But you're just one person. One real person trying to create something from scratch. And when you fail, you don't just lose a project. You risk losing a little piece of confidence too. So yes, DIY can be wonderful. But let's not pretend it's always easy. Let's not romanticize it into something it's not. Sometimes, doing it yourself means taking on more than you bargained for. Behind the joy, the hidden weight of DIY, there's no denying it. Making something with your own two hands feels incredible. Whether it's a planner from concrete, a chair from reclaimed wood, or a soft glowing lamp from string and glue, DIY feels personal. It feels human. Because in a world of algorithms and automation, crafting something real is an act of resistance. It slows us down. It brings us back to the present. It reminds us we are more than just consumers. We're creators too, but even that joy carries a shadow. Financially, DIY can be misleading. You think, doing it myself must be cheaper. But once you buy the tools, materials, paint, screws, sandpaper, you might realize a factory-made version would have cost less, much less. Time, too, becomes a slippery thing. You block out an evening, only to spend half of it re-watching tutorial videos and the other half fixing your first mistake. A simple project turns into a 2-week journey. And halfway through, you start to wonder if it was worth it. But the most invisible toll? Your mental energy. Because DIY doesn't always go right. Sometimes your hands can't match what your mind imagined. Sometimes your results don't measure up to the influencer's flawless video. And that gap between idea and execution can hurt. You begin doubting your creativity, your ability, even your worth. A project meant to bring joy suddenly becomes a symbol of not being good enough. It doesn't help that social media is full of polished results. Perfect lighting, perfect transitions, perfect homes. No one shows the spilled paint, the crooked edges, or the part where you just sat down and said, "I don't know what I'm doing." But maybe that's what we need to remember most. DIY isn't a performance. It's not a competition. It's a way to reconnect with your hands, your space, your pace. So do it when it feels good. Pause when it doesn't. And don't forget, you're allowed to try without needing to be great. So, is DIY worth it? If we take a step back, DIY isn't just about building shelves or repainting walls. It's about something deeper. It's about reclaiming control in a chaotic world. It's about putting a part of yourself into the space you live in. It's about creating when so much of life is about consuming. DIY is personal, intimate, empowering. It lets you say, "This is mine. I made this. It matters to me." But even the most personal journeys have their trade-offs. DIY demands time, something most of us are already running low on. It requires effort, physical, mental, and emotional. It asks for patience and sometimes forgiveness. You may spend hours on something that breaks in a week. You may spend more money than you saved. You may feel overwhelmed, discouraged, or just tired. But maybe that's okay, because the real value of DIY doesn't lie in the result, but in the act of trying, of slowing down, of learning, of failing, and still saying, "I made this, I tried." Sometimes that's enough. But here's the thing, you don't have to DIY to live meaningfully. You don't have to build your own table to have a home that feels like you. Buy it, borrow it, make it. None of it matters if you don't enjoy the process. In the end, the question isn't, is DIY worth it? The question is, what are you really looking for when you choose to make something with your own hands? Is it beauty, control, pride, peace, or maybe, just maybe, you're trying to find a piece of yourself in a world that keeps pulling you further away?